Ladies and gentlemen, President Trump's Department of Homeland Security just absolutely flipped the script, and so right this very moment, well, let's just say that the far left is collectively melting down. Really, as a consequence of today's news coming out of the DHS, the far left's entire game plan just imploded, and also there's actually a massive twist at the end with all of this. So make sure to stick around for today's entire video. I think you're going to like it. But now, as many of you know, 2 days ago, President Trump announced that he was pretty much going scorched earth on immigration. He's revoking visas, he's denaturalizing immigrants from the third world, and he's also completely shutting down all immigration from the third world as well. But as it relates to all of this, there has still been one massive question that's remained unanswered. What about immigrants who are currently inside of the country with pending asylum claims? Because as you all know, Joe Biden was handing out asylum status like Willy Wonka was handing out candy bars. In fact, right this very moment, because of Joe Biden and the Democrats, there are actually over 2 million asylees just sort of floating around the country right now, waiting for their asylum status court date, sometimes 10 years out, because our immigration courts are just so backed up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this is what brings us to today's absolutely massive DHS bombshell. Take a look.
Will you deport people with pending asylum claims, Madam Secretary?
We will if they should be. Absolutely. Yes, we are going to go through every single person that has a pending asylum claim, has an asylum claim here in this country. You know, one of the requirements of asylum is that you have to come in every single year for a checkup and an interview process and a re-vetting. And that is something that we're going to expedite and happen immediately with anyone who does have that asylum claim today and ensure that they deserve to still be in this country, that they still have the purposes for which they claimed that asylum in place, and that they're not here being radicalized and perpetuating dangerous criminal activity against our Americans.
And of course, as we now know, many of them are. But folks, what she just said is absolutely massive. As of now, the Trump administration is going to be reviewing and revoking asylum status for hundreds of thousands of Joe Biden's third world immigrants. And so I'll tell you why all of this is really such a big deal. Many of the illegal aliens that entered our country during the Biden era didn't actually even sneak inside of the country at all. They just walked up to a U.S. border officer, started yelling, "Asylum, asylum, asylum," and then, in accordance with Joe Biden's directive, they were actually let into the country and given asylum status. No vetting, no background checks. We don't even know where these people came from, but still, over 2 million of them currently have asylum status and an immigration court date 10 years from now. Really, the entire situation is just absolutely insane. But you know what? Speaking of things that are absolutely insane, take a listen to what member of the seditious six, Senator Mark Kelly, just had to say about President Trump's recent immigration overhaul.
This is kind of more of the same from this president. When he says things like third world countries, what is he really saying? I think what he's saying is he doesn't want brown people in our country. And that is disturbing, and it's un-American.
Folks, they're still doing it. They have learned absolutely nothing. After 10 years of calling Trump a racist every single day and failing at the ballot box time after time after time, they are still doing it. But you know what? Let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Can any of you in the audience name one single country that has actually become materially better after having taken in immigrants from Afghanistan or Somalia or India or any other third world countries for that matter? The answer is no. There's not one single country. So you know what? The far left can call that racist if they want. Me, I'm going to call that reality. But now, speaking of immigrants from the third world, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem also has a massive update regarding this Afghani immigrant as well. But before we take a look at that, I do want to say real quick that if you folks enjoy the daily news updates, please consider subscribing to the channel because it really does help a ton. But okay, check this out.
We believe he was radicalized since he's been here in this country. We do believe it was through connections in his home community and state, and we're going to continue to talk to those who interacted with him who were his family members, talk to them. So far, we've had some participation, but anyone who has information on this needs to know that we will be coming after you and we will bring you to justice. We absolutely will persecute you because we do know that we will never allow this to continue to happen in our country. Allow individuals who came to our country that were unvetted by Joe Biden, allowed to run free and loose. We are going to bring them to justice and make sure that they're returned out of this country if they aren't here for the purposes of being an American.
And of course, as anyone with half a brain knows, many of them have absolutely no intention of becoming American. However, with that said, what do you say we check in on how the far left's chief intellectual is handling all of this? Ladies and gentlemen, Jasmine Crockett.
But obviously, in Trump's America, this is exactly what he wants. And the idea that one person can get out of line and commit such a horrific crime as shooting two National Guardsmen that never, ever asked to be here. In fact, we know the young lady that lost her life specifically, we're saying that this is a waste of time. But now you want to go against every single immigrant. That doesn't make sense. And it's frankly not who we are, because if that's the case, let's talk about the white supremacists and how many of them need to be kicked out of this country, because I can guarantee you I can track down more crimes that they've committed, because overall immigrants have a lower crime committal rate than white supremacists. But we don't want to talk about that in this country.
Folks, it really is just disgusting and astoundingly stupid, isn't it? Our country has been invaded by tens of millions of unvetted illegal aliens. We have no idea who they are or where they came from, and now they're carrying out domestic terror attacks. But Jasmine Crockett's focus, as all of this is happening, is on white supremacy for some reason. And so, obligatorily, I feel like I do have to ask, where are white supremacists committing crime? Do they even exist in some type of organized way? Because personally, I don't really see them anywhere. What I do see, however, are tens of millions of illegal aliens from the third world ripping this country apart. And luckily, so does the DHS. Take a look.
That's the irresponsibility that has completely devastated our country, Kristen, put us in such a dangerous position. I don't think people realized when Joe Biden was in the White House exactly how he was allowing our country to be infiltrated with people that we didn't know who they were. Some of them we did know were dangerous, and we went after as soon as they came into this country. But under this program, we could have up to 100,000 people that came in from Afghanistan that may be here to do us harm. And President Trump is absolutely dedicated to getting them out of our country.
And as far as I'm concerned, thank God for that. Now, President Trump actually posted this on Truth Social just earlier this morning. Crooked Joe Biden, Mayorkas, and the so-called border czar Kamala Harris really screwed our country by letting anyone and everyone come in totally unchecked and unvetted. And then, just a couple of hours ago, we got a confirmation from current border czar Tom Homan that almost all of the third world immigrants currently inside of the country will, in fact, be getting deported. So folks, this is really what's going on here. The Trump administration has very clearly decided to take off the kid gloves. They are revoking visas, they're denaturalizing immigrants from the third world, and now they're completely shutting down all immigration from the third world as well. And so I think I can speak for all of us here when I say it is about damn time. Now it's time to finally put America first.